Hello everybody, this is Marcus. Welcome to my channel. Here I talk about Eldiron. Eldiron is my creator for classical RPGs. If you are interested in the old Ultimas, Dungeon Master, these kind of 2D, 3D classical RPGs of the 80s, 90s and early 2000s, you're in the right place. Eldiron works for both 2D and 3D games. And we have here an example, the 2D example. And in the last videos, I talked a lot about how the event system works, how to program logic for characters and items using Python. We go here to the code tool and we see this in the last videos. I explained all this stuff here, how that works. But now the big thing for the new version is that we have now a visual node editor. So we can create a Python code with a node grid system, as I call it. So this makes everything a lot more intuitive and easier. And it also gives you visual feedback. So this is for this release, which I just released 2 days ago, version 0.8.7, the main new feature. And you can now, all this list here, these are the events. In Eldiron, everything is handled by events. So the character or item, you get the startup event. And for example, here's the orc. It gets a startup event and it walks in the sector. It adds an item to its inventory, the golden key, which the character actually needs to get through this gate here. And so when I run the server and start the game, you see the golden key, it's okay. It says okay because it was added successfully to its inventory. And now we can change that, change the name of the, just by clicking on its argument, we can change the name and we press play and it says unknown item because it does not find golden key in the item list. We didn't create an item of that name. So you see, you have instant feedback at what is going right and wrong here. And this is a big advantage compared to the Python code. When you look at it, oh, okay, what happened there? And so this is very convenient. Again, the structure of the whole code and the layout and the function names, everything is the same as I discussed in the last video about the Python code and about how to this hideout example works. So I don't want to explain all the functionality here again. It's just now you have a different way of coding things. And the new hideout example, which you can download, it exactly features everything now in nodes. From here on, I will always use nodes to create logic because it's just easier and more convenient. Okay, let's maybe do an example. Change this back to golden key. Make an example of how to do all this. And let's do something easy, like the door here. When I go to the door, it opens and it closes. I go up there. Okay, the door opens and it closes. When I'm under the door, it does not open or it does not close. And after that, it closes. Okay, let's code this functionality here for this door with the new node system. Actually, I use here the game tool. By the way, if you're new to my videos, the game tool is lets you play the game as your user would see it. Let's go back to the code tool and we select here you can just click on the item, on the icon this is an item which I instantiate by just dragging and dropping here the door icon into the world, into the map. And we can just click on it And yeah, we have here two events which handle the logic, bump by entity and closed door. So just let's delete these, but just click on it and press the delete key to delete the items. Of course, you can always redo stuff with undo, but for now, we just want to code this ourselves. Okay, first event, we drag and drop the event here into the template and we say, okay, bump by entity. This is the event which is sent to the item when an entity bumps into it. And online in Eldiron.com in the reference, you have the reference of all events and all comments you can do, all the functions. And if you need, I mean, if you want to have a look, just go to online to the reference. So what do we want to do when the player bumps into the door? We want to open it. And for that, we need set attributes, two attributes, and these are Boolean attributes. We just drag and drop the Boolean attribute on the value, and they are both, we have to set them false both times. And this attribute is one time visible. So we make the door invisible when somebody bumps into it, and we set blocking to false. So it does not block the user anymore. So we can drag and drop here the character here, so we don't have to walk all the way over here. Go to the game tool. Okay, the door opens, and yeah, but it doesn't close anymore because that event we did not handle yet. So we go back. What did I do? Yeah, and we have a new custom event which we only use here for that example, and that's called closed door. And in the bumper entity, what we do is we call this event when we when somebody bumps into it, and the default value is 2 minutes, which is by the default settings 2 in-game minutes, 2 seconds in our real world. That's also how it was in all these in the Ultima games. Of course, you can change that in the settings. And the event, we call this event closed door. So actually, we are now finished here with bumper entity. That's all we want to do. So now in closed door, we want to check if we can close the door or not. And for this, we need to insert a variable. Here, the variable, we call it, I mean, this is actually a statement, actually assignment statement. It actually adds several things onto the grid, the variable, the assignment operator, and here's the value. And we just set the name of the variable to 2 entities. And here we say entities in radius. This function returns a list of entities which are in the radius of the door. So all people, entities who are here, all characters. And now we have to check if that list is empty, and if yes, we can close the door again. So we have an if statement. Here, the if block, we just drag it here. We set this name to entities. If entities is 0, but this is actually not the right way to do it because entities is a list of item IDs, so entity IDs. So we actually need to check if that list is empty. For that, we can decide how we access this variable, either by itself, which is a normal case, or if it's a list, we can take the first item. The first item is the reference, the first item. That's convenient. For example, if you want to attack somebody at proximity, then you just say the first item attacks this guy. But here we just want to check the length of that list. So if the length of that list is 0, that means nobody is there. And then we can just close the door. Like here, set attribute, set attribute. You guessed it. We do the same thing now the other way around. You set these to true, which is the default. Visible and blocking to true again. And now the door will close if nobody is there. But what happens if there is somebody at the door? Then it cannot close, but then it would never close again because this closed door function would never be closed. So what we do, we implement, we drag and drop an else statement here. And we don't need this empty row anymore. We can just press the delete key. You can always press the return key on a row to add a new row and press the delete key to delete it. And now in this else statement, when there is somebody there, then what we do, we just call this event again in 2 in-game minutes or seconds in real world and close door. So that's all. We implemented the complete functionality for a simple door in Nodes. So we can test it out. We start, we go to the tool, to the game tool, and you see the door closes. And when I'm here, it does not close because there's somebody there. We go away, it closes. And for example, the gate up here, it does the same thing. The gate is doing the same thing, but it checks when somebody bumps into it if the entity has the golden key. So it calls inventory items off, and the value is the value, the entity ID, and we check if the length of this item is larger than 0. So you can just click on it and select the operator here, larger, smaller. And if that's the case, we do the same thing. So that's the only difference between the gate and the door is we call the we check the inventory of the guy who bumped into the door if he has the key. Yeah, and this is, I mean, and when you check out the hideout example, it's available for download in the download directory. And everything is now based on the nodes. So from here on, I will only use nodes for implementing functionality and logic because it's just nicer. And one word is about the instances here. When you have the instance of the org, you always have two things here. You have the instance and the template. And the template is the same as a character because this is the org character which you can just drag and drop and will always behave the same. And these are just instances of this character org. And the code here, when you click on the list of instances on the map, it always goes to the instance. But the instance is what the initialization for this instance. When you want to have one special org which has a special item, you could just say, okay, for the instance, for this guy, we give him a special item and give the name, or we give him more strength if he's the boss, other than the other item. So we give him a special name, you know. But when you are here, you can just select the instance and you can always click back to the template with here. That makes it easy to select between the instance and the template. The template is for all orgs and the instance is only for this org during startup. And as you can see, the same code is here as in the old ones. And for the org, for example, we set the proximity tracking on. So if somebody within 4 tiles radius, he comes near him, the proximity warning event is sent. And you always have a description here. The value is a list of entity IDs in proximity. And then here we check the first item, the first guy here in the characters who comes close to the org. We check his alignment variable attribute, and then the alignment is greater than 0, we close in to that entity, and when we close in, we attack it. So you see, it's all like a chain, link of chains who gets executed after another. That makes it very easy to break down the functionality into small segments and also do stuff like at 12 o'clock, go home or go to lunch or something like that. It's a very easy way to handle all different kinds of cases like attack, kill, you arrived in a destination, you are dead, what to do now, or you take damage, what to do now. I explained all of that in the last video, so check this out if you're interested in how all that works. So this is the first version here of the code grid tool, and it can be a bit more convenient. For example, I could drag this item here to duplicate it, and also drag arguments to duplicate them. This will come in. There's lots of fine tuning I can do for the next versions. I will do these. I'm just at the moment for 2D. Eldiron is nearly there, or is already there, to create very complex 2D games like the old Ultimas. And now in the next versions, I will work this out more, the grid, and I will implement more 2D functionality. For example, I want to add particles to the torch emitter and this kind of stuff, so that the torch emits particles. But these are all small things I will add now over time, but the big focus now will be 3D and procedural shading and editing. So to create tiles procedurally and to make an example like the old Dungeon Master, where you run around in dungeons and kill monsters, both in first person as well as in isometric. That's the focus now, the bigger focus for the next versions. So I'm very looking forward to doing all that, and I'm really getting excited because we're getting closer and closer to a version 1. When we have the 3D example and have the new Dungeon Master example, we are very close. And yeah, thank you for watching, and if you want to support me, please like and subscribe to my channel, and also consider my Patreon. I'm working on this a lot, and it would be nice to get some thing back a bit from the community. Okay, thank you very much, and see you in the next video.